Before going out tonight, you spray on perfume. A familiar action, no need to think about it. But have you ever wondered why do you do that? Not because you're dirty, not because your body smells bad, but because modern society has taught you that natural body odor is something that should be covered up. But 100,000 years ago, there was no perfume, no soap, no anything that could conceal the scent of the human body. And in that world, scent was not something to hide. Scent was a language. Scent was information. Scent was what determined who would have children with whom, who would be protected, who would be chosen. And the female body throughout those 300,000 years was sending out an extremely important scent signal once every month. The question is, did ancient men notice it? How did they react? And how did that signal shape their lives? Imagine that you are a man living 80,000 years ago on the East African savannah. Your group consists of about 20 to 30 people. You live in caves or temporary shelters. You move with the seasons, following animals and sources of water. There is no privacy. Everyone sleeps close together, eats together, moves together. In that environment, your nose is one of the most important survival tools you have. Your nose detects predators approaching from upwind. Your nose recognizes clean water or contaminated water before you drink it. Your nose distinguishes food that is still good from food that has already spoiled. And your nose, without you even knowing it, is constantly processing chemical information from the women around you. Every day, every hour, without stopping. Among it is a special signal appearing about once a month that your body recognizes immediately, even though your brain is not consciously aware of it. Look at the animals most closely related to humans. When a female chimpanzee is approaching ovulation, her sexual swelling becomes enlarged and red, as big as a ball. It can be seen from dozens of meters away. The entire group of male chimpanzees immediately knows. Bonobos, humanity's closest relatives, are similar. Their reproductive signals are obvious, public, and impossible to ignore. But human women are different. There are no visible signs, no obvious external changes. Even an ancient woman with no calendar, no body temperature thermometer, and no ovulation test would not know exactly which day she was ovulating. So how did ancient men know? The answer is, they did not know with their eyes, they knew with their noses, and the female body, although it conceals visible signals, is still releasing invisible chemical signals once every month. Signals that the noses of ancient men, not yet dulled by synthetic chemicals, could fully detect. Evidence: one life in small groups and daily scent signals. A typical ancient hunter-gatherer group, according to anthropological research on tribes that survived into the 20th century, such as the San people of the Kalahari and the Hadza people of Tanzania, usually consisted of about 15 to 50 individuals. Within such a group, there might be 5 to 10 women of reproductive age. Each woman had her own menstrual cycle, but an interesting line of research suggested that women living in close proximity for long periods tend to synchronize their cycles, a phenomenon known as the McClintock effect, first reported in 1971. This means that in an ancient human group, women often ovulated around the same period of the month. And when that happened, the concentration of chemical signals in the group's environment could increase noticeably. Ancient men did not need an explanation. They did not need to understand the mechanism. Their bodies naturally became more restless, more attentive, and more competitive during those particular days of the month, without knowing why. This is not merely speculation. Research conducted on the Hadza, one of the hunter-gatherer populations, least influenced by the modern world during the 1990s, suggested that men in the group increased social activity and competition for resources in cyclical patterns that corresponded with the reproductive cycles of women in the group. Evidence: 2 ancient men competed differently at specific times. Ancient men did not go on dates. They did not give flowers. They did not send messages. They competed through things that were far more practical: who could hunt the largest animal, who could bring back the most food, who was stronger, faster, and more respected by the group. And studies of populations that retained hunter-gatherer lifestyles revealed something remarkable. Men often hunted more, brought back more resources, and shared more generously with the group during periods that coincided with women's peak fertility. Anthropologist Kristen Hawkes of the University of Utah, who spent many years studying the Hadza, referred to this idea as the show-off hypothesis. Men do not hunt only for food. They hunt to display their abilities, and the intensity of that display tends to peak when reproductive opportunities are highest. But how did they know it was the period of highest reproductive opportunity? No one told them. There was no calendar. There were no announcements. There was only scent invisible, unnamed, triggering their bodies to do exactly what evolution had shaped them to do. vidIQ. Evidence. 3. Body odor and mate choice. In ancient human societies, there were no mate selection criteria like the ones we have today. There were no bank accounts to examine, no academic degrees, no cars or houses. Ancient women chose men based on things they could observe directly: who was healthy, who was skillful at hunting, who was respected by the group, and who could protect them. But there was another criterion, completely unconscious, that their noses were evaluating at the same time: who had the right body odor. The right odor here does not mean pleasant or unpleasant in the ordinary sense. It refers to the scent of a person whose immune system genes differ enough from hers that their children would inherit a more diverse and robust immune system. In the ancient world, where disease and parasites were among the leading causes of death, a child with a stronger immune system had a significantly better chance of survival. This was an enormous evolutionary advantage. And ancient women, without knowing anything about genetics or immunity, were performing one of the most sophisticated forms of genetic assessment through a single organ, the nose. When a woman felt that there was something about a particular man, even though she could not explain it, there was a good chance that her nose was signaling, "This man's genes are compatible with yours for producing healthy offspring." No mystical intuition, just chemistry. Evidence 4. Why ancient women concealed ovulation signals. But here is the opposite question that few people ask. If scent signals were so important, why did ancient women not advertise ovulation more strongly and more clearly, like chimpanzees? The answer lies in the social structure of ancient human groups. In a group of 20 to 30 individuals, every man knew every woman. If ovulation signals were too obvious, all the men in the group would compete intensely at the same time. Violence would increase. The group would become unstable. The situation would be dangerous for everyone. Evolutionary biologist Sarah Hrdy has argued that concealed ovulation may have been an evolutionary solution to this social problem. By keeping reproductive signals subtle detectable, mainly by those who spent time in close proximity, women encouraged men to remain nearby continuously, rather than appearing only on the golden days of fertility. A man who wanted to be sure he did not miss the opportunity had to stay. He had to protect her, bring food to her, maintain a long-term relationship. Whether by accident or by the design of evolution, this may have become one of the earliest biological foundations of the family. It was not romantic love that created the family first. It was a subtle scent signal, strong enough to attract, yet subtle enough to keep men invested over the long term. Evidence. 5. Evidence from caves and archaeological artifacts. There is no way to measure the body odor of people who lived 50,000 years ago, but archaeology has left behind some very intriguing indirect clues. At numerous archaeological sites in Europe and the Middle East, researchers have found evidence that ancient people used fragrant flowers, tree resins, and aromatic minerals not for food and not for medicine, but to apply to their bodies. At Shanidar Cave, where the remains of Neanderthals dating back about 60,000 years were discovered, traces of various flowers were found near the bodies. Although the exact meaning remains debated, some researchers suggest that Neanderthals may have recognized pleasant scents as something carrying special significance. At sites associated with Homo sapiens in South Africa, dating to approximately 70,000 years ago, evidence has been found of the use of red ochre, a mineral with a distinctive odor, applied to the skin, not merely for decoration, but possibly, according to some researchers, to enhance or alter body scent during important social rituals. Ancient people did not understand the chemical mechanisms involved, but they knew through observation accumulated over thousands of years that scent had power. That scent changed the way others perceived them. That scent influenced some of the most important decisions within a group, and they attempted to control it in the most primitive ways available long before the invention of perfume or modern science. Ancient men did not know the word pheromone. They did not know ovulation. They did not know immune system genes. But their bodies knew it all and responded in exactly the direction that 300,000 years of evolution had programmed. They hunted more, stayed closer, protected better, on precisely the most important days without anyone telling them those were the important days. That system, subtle, invisible, and requiring no language, operated for hundreds of thousands of years. Then we invented perfume, antibacterial soap, hormonal contraception, air conditioning that masks the scent of sweat, face masks. And little by little we began to silence the oldest language the human body ever had. The next time you meet someone and feel attracted for reasons you cannot explain, remember that your nose is working, reading information, analyzing things that your eyes cannot see. Not destiny, not magic, just your body communicating with another person's body in a language 300,000 years old during a rare moment before perfume has the chance to come between them.